Bring the lights down low, it's time to show. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock, some movies shock. They're powerful, alright. We cover them all on your favorite part. So many movies we can choose. Even when you win, you lose. Life moves pretty fast. Some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math. It's the 30-something movie podcast. Be excellent to each other. Peace out and word to your mother. They're from the best decades. Movie magic that never fades. Lightsabers clash, phasers set to stun. Action packed from dusk till dawn. We have deep thoughts and questions free. Come share our love of the movies we see. Life moves pretty fast. Some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math. It's the 30-something movie podcast.
That's right. It's a 30-something movie podcast. I am your host, John Reed. Here with me, as always, fellow passengers on the bus. We've got Bo Warmbold. How are you doing?
I'm well, John. How are you?
I am excellent. We're here to talk some fun action movies tonight. Some pretty high-octane action movies. So I'm super excited about that. And we also have with us would you say he's more than famous? Would you say he's infamous?
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, the infamous Patrick Canigallo.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Pat, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really well. Likewise, this is just what a fun movie, and you know what? I've got a lot more deeper thoughts than I expected to in watching this movie for this most recent round. I can't wait to talk about it. Big Keanu fan. Yeah, this is just a fantastic movie.
Nice.
And what a fantastic group of guys that we get to talk about movies with.
Yeah.
This is great.
Well, it's nice to have you here. Just such a celebrity, Pat.
Okay, so we're going to stop. Okay, we're going to put a pin in that particular, we're going to diffuse that particular bomb. Okay, and we're going to proceed with the episode.
Those listening, if you know, you know. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pat, in
Please
fact, you know what?
Step away from the explosive device and continue with the pod, John.
You were helping out at a concert tonight. So not only that, you know what? I think you're a saint, Pat.
Well, I don't know if I can go that far with you, buddy.
I don't. Yeah, man, something just froze over when you said that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Never mind.
Boy.
I have heard some of the jokes you've told, so never mind.
Yeah, that's right.
Never mind.
That's right.
I take that back. I take back 20% of everything I've ever said.
Who said I was joking? No, I'm joking.
No.
I was joking. No, I was joking.
Who knows at this point? Very, very excited for this episode because this episode is Speed. And the movie Speed is it's so much fun. It's so 90s. I was trying to think of, when I think of 90s movies, it is one of the first ones that pops into my head. It is so very, very, very 90s.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. Hard agree on that one.
Like nearly every aspect of it, from him being the type of hero that we are starting to get in the late 80s and early 90s to just the way the villain is, the music, the action sequences, the explosions,
Agreed.
So much fun.
Agreed.
Well, we're not going to waste too much more time just chatting on about nothing here. We're going to get into Speed because we got a lot to talk about. From elevators to buses to subway trains. I mean, I don't know how airplane explosions. I don't know how you ratchet this one up anymore.
I want to get cut right into the deep thoughts because I've got so many thoughts, but it just kept going. And when you think you're free, it just piles it right back in. What a great movie.
All right.
What a fantastic movie.
With all due speed, we'll get through this first part here, and then we can get to the deep thoughts so you can carry on. Very, very quickly,
man.
We do spoil as we talk, so if you hear us mention a movie title, maybe just skip ahead 10 seconds or so if you want to skip on past that. Make sure you visit our website, 30podcast.com, where you can leave a rating, a voicemail, become one of our co-executive producers via Patreon. We have new folks that have joined us over there recently, so welcome to you all, and hope you're really enjoying that bonus content over there. We enjoy putting it out, and especially this year, we got some weird, quirky stuff over there this year, along with some other like fun, regular stuff that we do too, bonus things, but got a few quirky things this year, shaking it up just a little bit. Let's see. We are. I was gonna share this. We are actually on the top 100, or we were as of a few days ago, top 100 of film history podcasts in both Canada and Ireland.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So
Nice.
I mean, I think when we get to next week's episode on Blown Away, I think that means we all have to do Irish accents.
Oh, no, because that was maybe, okay, spoiler, that was maybe one of the flaws with that movie. I'm
come
just saying.
Come on. If Tommy Lee Jones can do it, I think we can do it.
Yes, but I think what Pat's theory presupposes is
Tommy Lee Jones didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well,
What my theory presupposes is Jeff Bridges' accent was even worse. Because I couldn't figure out what it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say because he didn't really try hard enough.
At least I knew Tommy Lee Jones was trying to be the Lucky Charms leprechaun.
well, and it kind of worked for that one, but then when you hear people talking and you're talking with people with another accent, and then but maybe there's a language barrier, and then suddenly someone tries to kind of like without maybe even subconsciously starts kind of appropriating their accent into their speaking.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it's like it's awkward and maybe borderline cringy because suddenly it's like, okay, where are we going with? Why are you starting to speak with that accent? You know what I'm saying?
Pat,
I think they actually have yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I live my life in the neutral zone of awkward and borderline cringy.
Okay, so that
I understand.
all of a sudden that started happening with the accents, where suddenly other actors are getting on the game and starting to speak with I'm not sure what accent that is either.
Uh-huh.
Now, again, that's for next week's podcast. But I think maybe I think maybe that's where that movie it's with the accents.
Okay. All right. Well, so for this week, we'll just speak with Canadian accents.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
All right.
Keanu, what a great, fantastic guy he is.
I know that you want to get to deep thoughts, and I'm sorry that we're not quite there yet, but
it is.
Yeah, there you go. It is the first episode of the month. It is the first episode of June, so we do need to hop in the DeLorean and head on back to June 1994. So let me throw some banana peels in the Mr. Fusion.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious.
Got a lot of news this time around. June 1st of 1994, FX, the cable channel, debuts.
Oh.
June 1st. June 12th, Cab Calloway suffers a massive stroke at his home in White Plains, New York.
Oh, yeah.
Also June 12th, Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman were found murdered outside her home in Los Angeles.
Jeez.
There might have been some stuff that happened right after that, which leads us to June 17th. O.J. Simpson led police on a slow-speed chase in his white Ford Bronco, watched by millions of people on live television before eventually surrendering at his home. I remember watching that on TV because we had just moved back from England. We thought we were going to be living in California. So I remember being in the apartment in Sacramento that we were living in for that summer, and I remember watching it all on TV.
Welcome back to the States, Reeds.
Right, yeah.
Interactive TV, Jack. Wave of the future, huh?
And all I could think was, he's on the wrong side of the road. I mean, that's not the most important thing, but...
Aren't you glad you didn't learn to drive over there?
Right. Aerosmith, June 27th, becomes the first major band to let fans download a full new track free from the internet.
Wow.
And it probably only took 4 hours to get that one track downloaded.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to talk. Now I'm going into Blown Away. Go next weekend. You only have 20 bytes of information left. Right. I'm just sorry.
No.
And don't forget that download was interrupted at least twice when someone picked up the phone.
Right.
That's right.
Until you hit the wave of the future, you got to the college dorm and you had this thing called a T1 connection.
Ooh.
Then you could download a song in 15 minutes. Yeah. Marvel at that, kiddos. June 28th, U.S. airstrikes in Bosnia against Serbian targets. Yes, targets. I don't know what those are.
Those targets get you every time.
Every dang time. Targets in Bosnia-Herzegovina in response to attacks on UN safe areas, marking the first NATO use of force in that conflict. Births, June 24th. Either of you guys watch The Boys on Amazon Prime?
I do not. I've heard good things, but I have not watched it.
Yeah. Actress Erin Moriarty, who plays the character, I believe her character's name is Starlight on that. She was born in New York City on June 24th, 1994. Deaths, we had June 11th, Jack Hanna, the animator from the Hanna of Hanna-Barbera, died at age 90 on June 11th, 1994.
Ooh.
June 14th, at age 70, Henry Mancini, American Grammy and Academy Award-winning film and television composer who did Breakfast at Tiffany's, Peter Gunn, Pink Panther. He was an arranger, a conductor. He died of pancreatic cancer at the age of 70 on June 14th of 1994. Now, some of this, Bo, you're a little bit more of a sportsman, so you might be more aware of this than I am. But what I didn't realize is apparently June 17th, 1994 has been referred to as the wildest day in sports history. Have you heard this?
Well, I have a hunch I'm going to know it when you say it, but...
So I'm reading some of this off of the Sports Illustrated website, but I saw several different things that referred to June 17th as the wildest day in sports history. So
that was that day?
So June 17th, 1994, Game 5 of the NBA Finals between the Rockets and the Knicks was interrupted by the O.J. Simpson Bronco case. Also, earlier that day, the New York Rangers had their Stanley Cup parade, the U.S. Open took place, and the World Cup kicked off. But that night... NBC had to cut into an NBA Finals game to show Al Cowlings driving O.J. Simpson around the Los Angeles area in a white Ford Bronco. Later in the evening on ABC, Al Michaels gave us the greatest performance of his career. Apparently there was a prank call.
A Baba Booey call.
And a Baba Booey to you all.
Wow. Okay. So I remember the Baba Booey call.
Okay.
Baba Booey.
I would not have remembered the Rangers had their parade that day.
Yeah.
Not enough of a hockey fan, let alone a Ranger fan.
Okay.
But wow, that's crazy.
And apparently that date in history has its own 30 for 30 episode. So if you go to if you have the 30 for 30, I don't know, where are those streaming somewhere? Where are those at?
That's a really good question. Let's see if I can find out.
So if you can get
some of those that I've seen,
they have an episode specifically on June 17th, 1994.
Interesting.
Where are they at? Looks like you can watch them on ESPN.
Oh, that makes sense. So Disney Plus probably, yeah?
Hulu, yeah, some of those.
Oh, Hulu, that makes sense, yeah. It wouldn't be on ESPN, Disney Plus Hulu. So much, but... Mm-hmm. And if you have the bundle, you have ESPN Plus, which I'm sure has it.
Correct.
So...
So apparently there is a full episode on June 17th, 1994.
Wow.
Top books in this month were The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield and The Chamber by John Grisham.
Oh my God, The Celestine Prophecy.
Top movies were The Flintstones, Speed, Wolf, and The Lion King. And the top song for the month of June in 1994 was I Swear by All for One. I swear when I stub my toe on the coffee table. That's not the song.
God, let's hope not.
Yes. I mean, sometimes I do. All right. Trivia Pursuits. We have some trivia on this one. June 10th, 1994 was the release of Speed. Rated R, runtime of 1 hour and 56 minutes. Directed by, I believe, his first directing job, Jan de Bont, who we are used to seeing in the cinematographer job. But this was his first one. He also did Twister and The Haunting. Graham Yost was the writer. He did Broken Arrow and Hard Rain. Producers were Mark Gordon and Michael Pazer. Gordon did Saving Private Ryan and The Day After Tomorrow. Pazer did Hackers and The Distinguished Gentleman. Composer was Mark Mancina, who did Bad Boys and Twister. Cinematographer was Andrzej Bartkowiak, who did The Devil's Advocate and Lethal Weapon Cat. Editor was John Wright, who did The Hunt for Red October and X-Men The Last Stand. Production company was Mark Gordon Productions. Budget was $30 million. Box office, $350.4 million. So they got their bus fare back plus a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Flickmetrics gives it a 77%. Cinema Score gives it an A. Keanu Reeves plays Jack Traven. He was in The Matrix and John Wick. Sandra Bullock played Annie Porter. She was in Miss Congeniality and The Blind Side. Dennis Hopper, who passed, I believe, in 2010, played Howard Payne. He was in Blue Velvet and Easy Rider. Jeff Daniels played Harry Temple. He was in Dumb and Dumber and The Newsroom. Joe Morton was Captain McMahon. He was in Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and The Brother from Another Planet. Alan Ruck was Stevens. He was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Spin City. Glenn Plummer played the Jaguar owner. He was in South Central and Menace to Society. Richard Lineback played Norwood. He was in Natural Born Killers and Varsity Blues. Beth Grant played Helen. She was in Donnie Darko and Little Miss Sunshine. Hawthorne James played Sam. He was in Seven and Heaven's Prisoners. Carlos Carrasco played Ortiz, or Gigantor, whatever you want to call him. He was in Parker and Confessions of a Shopaholic. And then David Kriegel played Terry. He was in Space Camp and Unsung Heroes. Couple quick things here. Keanu Reeves breaking the glass on the bus door when he's trying to get in the very beginning was actually an accident, but Jan de Bont liked it so much he decided to leave it in the final cut. Sandra Bullock actually learned to drive a bus for the film, passing her test on the very first try, although they did have two. What I read was, each bus that they used 10 buses, I believe, in this movie. Although, you know what? I was watching one of the making of documentaries, and they said 12. So somewhere around 10 to 12 buses. And the buses that were actually being driven had 2 steering wheels, one for the stunt driver and one for Sandra Bullock to drive. 20th Century Fox one of the producers realized that they might have a hit on their hands when he noticed that during test screenings, when they needed to go to the bathroom, audience members would actually walk backwards so they would miss as little of the movie as possible.
That's so cool.
That's a pretty good indication. The bus jump scene was done twice, as the bus landed too smoothly the first time.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's outstanding.
First world problems. The bridge was actually there, but it was erased digitally. The bus jump scene was not in the original script. Jan de Bont came up with the idea one day when he was driving around Los Angeles and noticed that a section of the I-105 freeway was missing. Thought that might be a nice little touch. The movie literally ran out of money before it was completed. When the film was first previewed for an audience, the subway scenes were animated storyboards, and the audience loved them so much the studio came up with the funds to shoot the scenes properly. Jan de Bont cast Keanu Reeves as Jack Traven after seeing him in Point Break from 1991. He felt that he was, quote, vulnerable on the screen. He's not threatening to men because he's not that bulky, and he looks great to women. Joss Whedon rewrote the script. He was uncredited, but apparently he wrote most of the dialogue for this movie. And one of the things I read in here was originally they had the original script called for the movie to end after everybody gets off the bus. But apparently Paramount Pictures thought that the movie had too much bus in it.
A movie about a bomb on a bus has too much bus in it, huh?
So that's when they, added the subway scenes. But it sounds like the Emperor and Amadeus.
Mm.
My boy, there are just, over the course of an evening, there are only so many buses that the human eye can perceive in an action movie. Maybe just cut a few, and it'll be fine. Which buses did you have in mind, Majesty?
Yeah.
A movie about a bomb on a bus. And there's too much bus.
Too much bus.
Too much bus. Yeah. All right. Well, in a city on the edge, Officer Jack Traven must team up with Annie Porter to outwit a mad bomber and save innocent lives as the clock ticks down. And hopefully the speedometer doesn't. With his partner Harry Temple, every second counts. Speed. Hold on tight.
All right, pop quiz. Airport. Gunman with one hostage. He's using her for cover. He's almost to a plane. You're 100 feet away.
What do you think? Shoot the hostage.
What?
Go for the good wound and he can't get to the plane with her. Clear shot.
You're deeply nuts, you know that?
All right, gentlemen, what we have here are 13 passengers in an express elevator. Bomb's already taken out cables. Bomber wants $3 million or he blows the emergency brakes.
Anything else that'll keep this elevator from falling?
The basement.
He can strike anywhere, at any time.
Will the mystery guest please sign in?
Why are they messing with me? Do they think I'm doing this for fun?
For L.A. cop Jack Traven.
Tell me again, Harry, why did I take this job?
Come on, 30 more years of this, you get a tiny pension and a cheap gold watch.
cool.
The game began
Very exciting, Jack. Some close calls, huh?
when someone put the city of Los Angeles to the ultimate test.
Pop quiz, hotshot. There's a bomb on a bus. Once the bus goes 50 miles an hour, the bomb is armed. If it drops below 50, it blows up. What do you do? What do you do?
Now,
Are you insured? Yeah, why?
he's the only solution.
We just got a ransom demand from your terrorist. Says he's rigged the city bus. Where's Jack?
Where do you think?
Stay on or get off.
Get off.
This is much better.
Everybody hold on!
Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, Sandra Bullock.
Pop quiz. You have a hair trigger aimed at your head. What do you do? What do you do?
Speed. Get ready for rush hour.
Pop quiz. Did anybody recognize any of the music that was in that trailer?
I did not, but I feel like now I should have.
Well, oddly
The
enough,
audio wasn't coming through as clearly as I hoped, so I
Okay.
didn't either.
Okay. Some of it was Black Rain, 1989 by Hans Zimmer. And the other little bit was Predator, 1987 by Alan Silvestri,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll get a little bit more Alan Silvestri next week because he was the composer for Blown Away.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one, and we talk sometimes about how sometimes the music in the trailers does not necessarily fit with what is going on in the trailer or what the movie is actually about. That one I thought was pretty good. I think that one's a pretty good fit. So this one is Speed. We start off our major moments. We start off with a bomb threat in an elevator. LAPD SWAT officers Jack Traven and Harry Temple thwart an attempt to bomb an elevator filled with people for I think it was $3.7 million ransom by this extortionist. As they corner the bomber, he takes Harry hostage by the nostrils, actually. Jack shoots Harry in the leg, forcing the bomber to release him. Bomber flees, detonates the bomb, seemingly killing himself. Jack and Harry are praised by Lieutenant Mac McMahon. Basically, they are celebrities now. A lot of that's going around. Harry is promoted to detective, and both partners receive a medal. The bomber, having survived the incident, watches from TV. There is a bus explosion. The next morning, a mass transit bus explodes from another bomb planted by the bomber. Contacting Jack on a payphone, he explains, I said earlier how very, very 90s this movie is. Contacting Jack by a payphone is a phrase that you will not hear much past the 90s. He explains that a third bomb is rigged on a different bus, which will arm once it reaches 50 miles per hour and detonate if it drops below 50. And if they can get themselves up to 88, it will activate the flux capacitor and they will be able to travel back in time to an alternate 1994.
Well, and they don't need roads anymore either.
They do not, no. And a time-traveling bus could be pretty cool.
Indeed.
I mean, the train was nice, so.
Also, indeed.
The bomber also demands an updated ransom of $3.7 million and threatens to remote detonate the explosive if any passengers are offloaded from the bus. So Jack races through freeway traffic and boards the bus, but the bomb is already armed, so they can't slow the bus down at this point. There is a felon on board who thinks that Jack is about to arrest him, so he pulls his gun, and in a bit of a struggle, he ends up firing the gun, wounding Sam Silver, who is the bus driver. Another passenger, Annie Porter, played by Sandra Bullock, takes over for Sam. When she tries to slow down so he can get help, Jack is forced to reveal that there is a bomb to the passengers on the bus, and a few of them start doing a little bit of a freak out, which I feel like you would. That's understandable. Jack examines the bomb underneath the bus and calls Harry. The bus is cleared to drive on an unopened freeway section, and Mac demands that they offload the passengers onto a flatbed trailer, but Jack says, nope, can't do that. They're being watched. The bomber will see anybody leaves this bus, and it is going to explode. The bomber calls Jack again, and while being convinced to allow Sam to get offloaded for medical attention, there is, I think her name is Helen, is one of the passengers, and she's a bit jumpy anyway. Helen just does not want to be on the bus anymore, and the cops, who we already had this conversation, if anybody else gets off the bus, they're gonna blow it. So I feel like the cops are kind of to blame for this too.
Yeah, someone missed the memo. And just a real quick shout out here for everybody on that bus was direct from central casting for the perfect casting for the bus people. That's just my little interjection.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And Helen, who wants to get off the bus and nearly jumps off the bus because the cops are telling her to. Have you guys seen the movie Donnie Darko?
It's been a long time.
I have not.
Okay. She plays a great character in that. She's one of the dance moms in that, and she's got this line in the movie, what is their dance troupe called? Their dance troupe is called Sparkle Motion. And there is a scene in which she confronts Jake Gyllenhaal and Maggie Gyllenhaal's characters' their mother, and she's trying to get the mother to maybe be a little bit more involved in the dance troupe. The mother is not interested at all. And she has this line in the movie, "Sometimes I doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion." And she's got like a little bit of a thicker Southern accent. And unfortunately for Helen in this scene, she doubted the commitment to Perpetual Motion and tried to get off the bus, and she did. So
physics.
R.I.P. Helen. Jack learns part of the freeway is incomplete, ruh-roh, and he persuades Annie to accelerate so they can jump the gap. I will pause here for a moment and say that I was watching this movie with my family. Now, backing up even further, I have watched this movie once before, I think just once before, with my lovely wife, and I think that her take on Keanu Reeves is unfortunately colored by her viewing of the movie A Walk in the Clouds.
Oh.
Which is not the best example of his acting. I say that knowing that he's not actually an amazing actor in a lot of the stuff he's in.
True that.
But, you know, he's a very likable character in a lot of his stuff. And seems to be a very likable human being, just in general, off camera. So I don't think that helped. So there have been times where when I have brought this movie up, there was some good-natured teasing about, you know, how this is Keanu Reeves on a bus and how exciting can that be. But we were watching this. I was introducing this to the rest of the family. And I will say, Nora was, I think, mostly on board with a lot of stuff. I mean, it was very tense, and, you know, I think she was enjoying it. And then we get to the point where she's like, you know, cars can't do that. Like, cars can't, you can't, like, flip a car up in the air like that. You can't do that. And I was like, no, hold on just a second, because we're about to get to the jump scene. She's like, wait a minute, what jump scene? I said, oh, we're going to jump a 50-foot gap in the freeway.
With a bus.
With a bus. That might be the point at which Nora tried to get off the bus, because she was like, no. And I'm like, what did you not just see on the screen? You saw a bus jump 50 feet.
Exactly.
Right. So, children. There's a complete lack of belief nowadays. I believe a bus can jump. I can.
I agree.
You'll believe a bus can fly.
Yes, I do. I have faith. Faith of the heart.
Boy.
Yeah.
That was...
Okay, not now, but I'm going to let me break for just a moment. So our good friends who don't know we exist over at Greatest Generation have started their run on Star Trek Enterprise.
And I imagine the theme song came up minute one.
They have their theme song for Greatest Generation for this season is a parody of Faith of the Heart.
Oh, Lord.
It is both cringeworthy and outstanding.
As it should be.
Now, knowing that this was coming up, I have started to go back through and rewatch Enterprise, which I will just briefly say, without any other further explanation, I love Enterprise. Like, I really, really do enjoy Enterprise. In fact, slightly controversial, I like Enterprise better than Voyager.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we can get into that whenever we start a Star Trek podcast.
That is interesting, what you've said there,
Yeah.
and deserves some unpacking someday.
Yeah, someday. So I wanted to go listen to, I was like, I just want to listen to the theme song, just for fun. I want to listen to it. So I asked my good friend Siri on my phone to play that song. And I thought I said, play the song by, I think it's Russell Watson.
Russell Watson.
Yeah. I was like, play Faith of the Heart by Russell Watson. And it started playing some weird remix version. Bless you, good sir.
Sorry, gentlemen.
Oh, you're fine. And so it started playing some weird remix version. I was like, no. I want you to play Faith of the Heart, the theme to Star Trek Enterprise. And it skips over to some version that sounds like, in fact, I'm going to take this and I want to do something with it. And I want to share it with you all because I have an idea in my head that I think will be hilarious. There is a version on Apple Music sung by some guy. I think his name is something like Ray Kiker. And it sounds like the old man that sings solos in his Baptist church Sunday service. It sounds like he wanted to make a version of the Star Trek Enterprise theme song, and that's what he did. And that's what it is. And as I'm listening to it, I'm going, what? No, why? Why would you do that? So I will share it with you at some point. I have something funny I would like to do to it, and then I will share it with you all at some point. Because it's magnificently weird.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. They succeed in jumping the bus, and they then direct Annie to drive to LAX airport, which has some unobstructed runways, so they can just ride around in circles for a bit if they need to. They are also running out of gas, so they're going to need to fix that issue as well. So time, gas, they're all running out of it. Meanwhile, Harry finds out the bomber is an Atlanta PD bomb squad officer named Howard Payne, and Harry ends up leading a SWAT team to Payne's house so that they can capture him. But the bomb explodes, killing him and most of his team. There is a funny moment here I did want to point out. When they pull up to his house, there's an SUV, there's two cars that pull up to Howard's house. It's an SUV, and then it's like a baby blue sedan.
Yeah, I don't quite understand those choices.
Yeah, I was like, and then the SWAT team guys all pile out of the sedan. I'm like, wait, hold on, what?
Yeah. There were some choices in this movie that were kind of like humorous to me.
Yeah.
But it's so good on so many other levels.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
But there were definitely.
And that was the first time I ever noticed that. I was like, wait, SWAT is showing up in a blue sedan? All right.
Everybody okay with this? Okay.
Yeah, it's all right. Budget cuts. That's what it is. In a last-ditch attempt to defuse the bomb, Jack goes under the bus on a sled, but when his tow line breaks from the road debris, he accidentally punctures the fuel tank. After the passengers grab him back aboard, he learns that Payne has been watching them on a hidden surveillance camera, and that's why he's been one step ahead of them. Mac has a local news crew record the transmission of this camera and rebroadcast it back on a loop to fool Payne while they can get the passengers off. Jack and Annie end up escaping through the floor access panel before the bus collides with a Boeing 707 cargo plane and explodes. And no one is getting the letters and packages that were on that plane anytime soon because they all burned up now. They're taking advantage of the fact that he does not know that the bus went boom. And so they head to Pershing Square to the drop point, the ransom, realizing then that he has been fooled by the SWAT team and the cops and the recording that they are waiting for him. He is now furious, and he poses as a police officer, kidnaps Annie, recovers the ransom. Jack follows him into the Metro Red Line subway and discovers Annie has been fitted with an explosive vest rigged with a pressure release detonator. Mac gets very, very nervous because from his time as being Miles Dyson in Terminator 2, he knows exactly what those are all about.
Yep.
After shooting the controls and killing the train driver, Payne attempts a bribe with the money, but is enraged when a dye pack in the bag explodes, tainting all of his cash. He then goes kind of crazy, battles Jack on the train's roof, gains the upper hand, trying to strangle him. We have a moment where we have Chekhov's red flashing warning light in one scene as Jack is crawling along the roof of the train, and then later on that does come back, and we end up decapitating Howard. Pushes his head up and is decapitated by that railway signal. That was another moment that my daughter was like, people's heads can't pop off like that. And before I could say anything, my son then pipes up and he's like, yeah, sure they can. At that kind of speed, you could just totally pop off. Like, I was a little concerned we answered that quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're probably not wrong, but a little concerned that the answer came that fast. They are able to deactivate Annie's vest. Payne has the key to the handcuffs, however, so we can't get Annie out of the train car. Cannot free her from the pole that she's attached to. Unable to slow the train down since Payne shot the control panel. What do we do in a movie named Speed? We speed it up.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to accelerate this thing to jump the tracks. The train plows through a construction site, bursts onto Hollywood Boulevard, and comes to a halt on the street. Unharmed, Jack and Annie share a kiss while a crowd looks on in amazement. That's the movie in a nutshell. No,
this is me in a nutshell.
This is me in a nutshell. How did I get in such a big nutshell?
I did find it humorous, the amount of force that the train came out of the tunnel.
Yes. There's so much that's just so much fun in this movie.
It's exactly it. It's just
the ridiculous
fun.
The ridiculous degree
Yes.
of destruction and explosion and everything.
Yes. Yes.
It's like a cartoon. It's like a cartoon with live action people.
Yes.
All right, Pat.
Yes,
I know you're excited to get into some deep thoughts here, so let's hit the accelerator and get into some deep thoughts.
And now, deep thoughts.
I have an opinion on this matter.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
I like it a lot. Wow. It's very deep. Thank you.
I'm not even going to ask if we like this movie because we do. Pat, what are your deep thoughts?
I love this movie. It's just a fantastic movie. It's really great because I remember watching it when it came out. And I think, it's funny because my first take on this was I knew Keanu Reeves previously as Ted Theodore Logan, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. He was Ted, right? Yeah, he was Ted. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, Point Break, I don't think I'd seen Point Break at this point because I think the ages worked out just a little bit that unless someone had it at a sleepover, I probably did. And I don't think any of my friends necessarily, I think there were other movies that people would pull out like the Aliens or the Lethal Weapons or any of those. And so that was kind of a jump. This was the first time that I saw Keanu. I was like, oh man, that's Ted. Dang, he looks good, and it was exactly it. Like, I love his character. It's fun watching him on screen. Like, I legit am a huge and now that I'm looking back, like I like most all his movies. So anyways, that was exciting. The action sequences were fun. Dennis Hopper is the bad guy. And that's, in my old age and doing this podcast with you guys, I've learned that hey man, the key to a great movie is a great bad guy. And Dennis Hopper is perfect as the bad guy.
Oh yeah.
And he's got an interesting plot around him and where he comes from and all that. It's just such a fun watch. And I don't know if I want to go and say all my deep thoughts at once, or if you want me to come up for air and bring some things up. Does anybody else want to talk about the first time they saw it and all that, or should I just keep rolling?
I don't know the first time I saw it. It was on video. I don't believe I saw this in the theater at any point.
I was definitely theater.
You were, okay. I was still a little bit too young to get into a theater by myself to be able to see this with it being rated R. Mm-hmm. So that I wouldn't have seen it in the theater, but I'm pretty sure I saw it as soon as it was out on video.
Right.
So very, very soon. Probably, whenever in 1995 it would have come out on video. That's the first time I would have seen it. Because I remember seeing the trailers for this and thinking, I got to see that one.
Yeah, and I remember the talk.
They jump a bus and all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You got to see it. Sandra Bullock didn't hurt.
Well, that's also true. Patrick, you can keep going.
Well, if you want, keeping rolling, you mentioned it when it came out in the theater, and I remember that. I remember it was this is the movie that you want to see kind of thing, Well,
and this is especially in the 90s, this is the movie that if you were saving your money to go see certain movies in the theater, it would be this one.
Right.
And that would have been the big screen, the big speakers, the big everything else. You go to see this kind of movie.
Right. 94. I'm doing the math. So, I mean, I didn't even need to I was probably riding my bike to the theater still, but I mean, I think I was driving by that point. I'm pretty sure if my math it was my understanding there would be no math, but So getting to the theater and going multiple times and having a job so that you could spend your money on going to the theater multiple times. And it was, just a great film. Now, the other thing, and I cut in before, is all of the characters on the bus, loved them all. And it was so great because they picked the perfect people to play those characters. They were played so well that you didn't need to know all their backstories to know everything you needed from them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right down to the guy in the car whose car he commandeers is like fantastic. Sir, may I borrow your phone? Yeah. Take the phone. I mean, it's like, it's all delivered perfectly. Just seeing his interplay with, who's the other guy? Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seeing his interplay, like when they're sitting there saying the bomber's still here. And just when he looks at him in the hallway and just points at him, I was like, that is, I don't know why, but that scene early in the movie when he points at him, like to me, it felt like, I don't know why, but that scene just stuck with me as I would imagine that almost on like a weekly serial show, and where these guys know each other, and like that gesture was so familiar and it conveyed so much that you instantly believe these guys are like best friends and teammates and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like it just, they so easily established the familiarity and what these characters were about, that it was just so fun to watch these characters on screen. If I'm making any sense with that.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'll come up for air and let someone else speak, but that was the stuff that hit me as a kid, just loving all those things. Dennis Hopper being crazy. You always think you're free, and then the movie pulls you right back in. Upon rewatching it for this time, I was really, and I think it's been a while since I've seen it. It's been at least a year. It might be like 4 or 5, but what I really noticed about this, all the old feels were there. I remembered every part of it. I remembered the music. I probably could have recited the lines.
Yeah.
But there were 2 things that really stuck out with me. One was how everybody on the bus came together. And I'm going to maybe go down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, and I apologize if I'm hanging too much on this movie. But now everything in our society is very divisive, right? It's very divided, and that's not saying anything.
Yeah.
Movies, we either love them or hate them. If something says the wrong thing, if someone's like, it's immediate, like just everything is against each other. Even since this movie came out, there was a whole bunch. You remember all the reality shows like Survivor Island or whatever the heck it was called? It's always like hey, we're trying to beat the other team, or we're trying to, it was always very confrontational and adversarial.
Yeah.
What I loved about this movie is that it actually showed people coming together and trying to get out of a challenging situation.
Yeah.
Right. He needed the people on the bus. The people on the bus needed him. They cared about him. The 2 shots that really stuck out to me is when he steps off the bus. And I thought it was set up so well, because you remember how he steps off the bus and they're like, don't forget about us. And, the struggle up to that point is we can't get these people off the bus. And then and I remember this as a kid too. It was so powerful that as soon as he had permission, all he had to do was step away.
Yeah.
And he was good to go. And it was like, wow, dang, that's, what he's doing so easily, they can't do. But what I noticed this time is as he pulled away, the shot followed everybody looking out the window in the bus at him, like terrified and come back, and like, this guy is gonna help us out. Like he's our I'm going to use the word savior. I know I'm setting myself up when I say that, but like, he's the guy that's going to save us. Then you see a similar shot later when they all get off the bus, but he and a gal, Sandra Bullock's character. Yeah. When you see the same kind of shot when they're on the bus, and now they're stuck on the bus and all the other people have gotten off, right? And that bus is pulling away and they're watching him through the window. But now this time it's worry, because they've come to, love and respect this guy. They've all come together and shared this experience, and they're all on the same side. And now, oh shoot, he can't get off the bus. Yeah. Right. And now they're worried about him. And it was such a great, what do you call it? A reciprocal shot where you just, of them looking out the window while he's pulling away. I just thought that was so powerful. And going back to my bigger point of seeing these strangers that don't get along, and, he's trying to hit on her and she's like, look, I've got gum on my seat. There's the one guy that has the gun and he shoots someone before. Then there's the one guy that's really annoying. There's all, but they all come together. And I just thought that theme was so cool in it. And the only other thing I want to throw out there, and like I said, just watching it this time, was how you have these awesome action sequences, but they were punctuated by like a whodunit, solve the mystery kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like you got action, 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 action. But then it's Harry sitting in the desk, like figuring out different kinds of bombs and tracing it down. And you know what? Let's figure out this. I want you to go and look at the police and look at here. And okay. And then they go back, action, action, action. Then they go back to another like crime solving thing. Action, action, action. More crime solving thing. I just thought the way they went back and forth with that was they struck a perfect balance with what they were trying to do with the movie.
It doesn't feel like this movie has any downtime.
No, but it's not all pedal to the metal maxed out. Like there is a point when you break away for a different kind of thing, which is awesome.
Yeah. Bo, what do you love about Speed?
Okay.
I think Pat's said it a lot, so I don't need to rehash it all, but to go back to just the way the characters interplay with each other. And you mentioned Harry and, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank right now? Jack. Thank you. You mentioned Harry and Jack, but also Jack and Annie.
Yeah.
Right. Just the way she looks at him sometimes, or the way she just, there's just these little giggles, sort of a gallows humor moments almost, because they always think they're going to die, or she always thinks they're going to die anyway. Yeah. It's the interplay there with some really good actors. Like we're talking Jeff Daniels and Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves, and they, you could talk about Keanu all day and how he might be a little goofy, but he is good at what he does. And the three of them, Annie and Harry never actually meet, I don't think, right?
No.
Yeah. But it's very cool. Like, what's the scene? Oh, repeat what I say on the phone when they bring in Captain John Chandler.
Yeah.
Like just that, the fact that those two can play that, like they've worked together so long, like they don't need, there's very few words need to be said for the two of them to communicate what they're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is another movie where the hero and the villain really don't meet each other until, they do at the beginning of the movie and they do it again at the end of the movie, but for the most part, it's phone conversations.
Right. They're never out in the same shot.
Yeah.
You know what else I thought was interesting? And it's funny, after you, of course, have now said there was too much bus. Mm-hmm. You don't see a bus for 20 minutes.
At the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, watching it this time, the whole elevator scene went on way longer than I remember it going on. I was like, wait, when do we get to the bus?
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, but okay,
I was like Sean Connery. What about the boat? We're not taking the boat? I'm like, where's the bus? We're not taking a bus? I thought we were taking a bus. We're still in the elevator?
It was very odd. I was like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Jan de Bont really, really wanted to do his Die Hard thing.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie, it's so much fun. Like, it's so much fun. It's so much ridiculous fun. All the difference, like all the destruction that goes into this. When we were watching it, I asked, I think my wife might have asked, she's like, I wonder how many cars got destroyed in this movie. And I think my daughter tried to Google it, and she, I want to say, found the number 130 something, maybe. Something like that. But you have all these scenes where the bus is having to, careen through the off-ramp and is just smashing into the side of every car that it's passing by. So much fun destruction. So many fun explosions in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd also like to say that when they figure out who the bad guy is, right before, and again, great delivery, Jeff Bridges' character is like, here's our scumbag,
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
But I what I love is the way she slides the newspaper down, and it's like, found him, such and such, such and such, and the shot, it almost, the way she slides the newspaper down, and he kind of, his image appears on screen, is almost the same way at the end when he's dressed in his uniform and he goes and gets the Sandra Bullock character off the street. It's almost the same way the camera pans down and the same look on his face when he's sitting there. which I thought was really cool. Like it's I don't know the way I would describe it, but just like you're matching styles there. Like the way he was presented when they find out he's a cop is the same way he's presented on camera in real life when he walks on the scene dressed as a cop. I just think I noticed those things, and it just made the movie flow so darn well.
Well, when you got a former DP as the director, that helps a little bit.
Yeah, I bet, man. I bet. Just fantastic.
All right, before we get to our three questions here in just a moment, I did want to take a moment and just point out too that it might have been, and anybody listening to this too, it might have been several years since you've seen this movie, but I do feel like anytime you hear this, you know what movie you're about to see.
Yep.
You know, you hear that dun 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 dun, like Speed. I know that.
Yes,
I would know that anywhere. It's Speed,
and it's infinitely rewatchable.
Oh, yeah.
Like how did they ever attempt a sequel of this?
Yes, and I've never watched it.
Okay,
it's Speed
Same.
2 Cruise Control.
Okay,
and it is Sandra Bullock is on a cruise ship. And
it was a cruise ship.
Yeah, and that's what they use. In fact, when I told my daughter that, I said, Nora, just wait. In a few years, we might be covering the sequel on the podcast, and you'll get to see Speed 2 Cruise Control on a boat. And she's like, "You're kidding? They put it on a boat?" Yeah, they put it on a boat. No, I have never seen
it. Put it on a boat.
I have never seen that one. Unless we do it for the podcast in a couple of years or whenever it is. I don't know that I've ever had any desire to see that one.
I think I've seen it.
Okay.
Now that I say it, and I'm like, did they ever make a sequel? Like, I think I've seen it.
Sandra Bullock was the only one I think who returned.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves wasn't in it. I don't think anybody else was in it. It was just her. And I really, really hope if we end up watching it for the podcast, I really hope at some point in the movie she says the line, "How can the same thing happen to the same girl twice?"
I almost, John, honestly, I almost want to say that line does come, that happens.
Is it really?
I want to say they make, maybe I'm just imagining things, but I want to say that they actually reference something like that. And where she's just like, oh my God, like, what is it about, or this has happened before or something where it kind of does a nod like that.
Okay. If that's true,
I might be imagining things though.
But that sounds magical.
If you know the truth out there, everybody listening, please attach the answer to a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, there you go.
Send it to the pod. Let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be very excited if that line shows up in that movie.
Is Jan de Bont involved at all?
Speed 2?
I'm guessing not.
Speed 2, yes, he directed Speed 2 as well.
Wow.
Bam.
Actually, for the most part, it looks like different writers for that one. Oh, well, see, now that I'm looking at the people who are in the movie, I'm like, all right, well, maybe I should cut it some slack. I haven't seen it, but I have heard it's not great or it's not as good as the first one. But
as have I.
Right. So Sandra Bullock, Jason Patric, Willem Dafoe, Tamara Morrison.
Oh.
So, I mean, it's got some good folks in it.
It does. Now, okay, you've intrigued me now, which I don't like you for, but...
I'm sorry. Let's see. Oh, no, wait, I take that back. She's not the only one that comes back. Apparently, and I think he was the driver of the sports car, Glenn Plummer played Maurice. Looks like Maurice is back in Speed 2.
I hope someone borrows his phone.
I hope so. I hope he's got a speedboat.
Oh, that would be...
Somebody borrows his speedboat. And also
that would be... Yes.
A speedboat with a satellite
everything.
phone.
Yes. Hollywood, hire us.
I think we're writing Speed 2 as
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, Speed 2, Electric Boogaloo. Speed 3. What would Speed 3 be? Well, in fact, what would you do? This is not one of the 3 questions. If you were going to make a Speed 3, what would you do?
Well, we've done a boat and a bus.
Do you go to
It's
space?
got to be a train, doesn't it? I mean, I know we did the subway, but
do you go to space?
Ooh. Speed in space.
There you go. Or the what are those things they keep wanting to try to build? Hyperloop trains?
Yeah, there you go.
I think you do one of those. I think you do like
what
some
this
kind of
town needs is a monorail.
Yes. Speed 3 monorail.
Yes.
Speed 3 off the monorails.
Could you do speed in a plane?
Yes, I think it's called Air Force One.
It's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
excited about the monorail idea.
Okay, so but
could you do Speed 3 in an Uber?
There you go. What about
it's a very
like
small cast?
What about like this would be a small cast too? What about like an implement, like a construction vehicle of some kind, like speed dump truck? I don't know. It's full of stuff, and if it rams into a wall, I don't know.
Nope. I've got it. Speed 3, the Devil's RV.
Yes. 100% yes.
A family gets held hostage. And just like Pat said, the people on the bus, all the kids in the family are from Central Casting.
Yes.
And that's what it is. It's a cross between the Robin Williams movie RV and Speed.
Are we there yet? You got that one?
Bum, bum.
Yeah, and same music too.
You got an Are We There Yet kid. You got a grandpa who's always got to use the bathroom or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And they get assistance from a truck driver that has a bloodhound.
Yeah.
Or was it a basset hound? It wasn't a bloodhound. It was a basset hound. Yeah. I like this idea.
That's extraordinary.
I think we've got some stuff we can build off of here. Do we have anything else we want to say about Speed before we go into the 3 questions? Because pop quiz, gentlemen, I have questions for you.
Shocking.
Number 1, do you shoot the hostage?
I think Keanu proved it. You shoot the hostage.
I think you shoot the hostage.
Please tell me you haven't been shooting hostages, Jack. The dialogue was really, really fun.
Yes.
The dialogue flowed really well. It was fun. The humor that was put in there.
Say what you will. Say what you will about Joss Whedon, but the man can write dialogue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to put the pedal to the metal and get to our 3 questions?
My soul is prepared.
Let's do it.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
All right. We can't go under 3 questions or else we'll explode. So question number 1, if you were trapped in a vehicle that could not go under 50 miles per hour, where would you want to drive it?
I think they got it in the movie. Put it in an airport.
Airport, yeah.
And just circle the runway, and then you got plenty of room to, if there's any sort of an explosive, like similar to the movie, you have emergency response vehicles, you have space. I kind of think that's the best.
Pat, I'm a little surprised. I thought you'd pick something like the Autobahn.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking either the Autobahn or like A1A or something like.
I
thought you can clear traffic, like something pretty. So if I got to keep driving, I at least enjoy myself.
Well, and that's kind of where it gets into what's the nature of the question. Like, do I just go for a drive or whatever? But I mean, if it's similar to this, like, man, we gotta. I agree with you. Like a big speedway.
Yeah.
like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway would be a perfect one, or any of the proving grounds, like in Detroit. You know, where they've got those big things where you can just get, and it's just nice and open and just go. You don't have to worry about emergency traffic and all that. I'd think like an oval or something, so you're not slowing down or worried about running off the track for a turn. My only thing with the airport is just, you know, having it being very big, very open in case of any sort of explosive or whatnot.
My option for scenery was Texas, because I figured there's enough kind of wide open spaces there that you could drive, and if for some reason, I mean, if you had this vehicle and it had a bomb strapped to it, then I figure if you're gonna go, then at least there's some scenery around. And I was trying to think of places that are large and open, and like, well, Texas is nice and it's fairly open, and I mean, if you gotta go, Montana would probably be another good one. A lot of wide open spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Question number 2. Have you ever gotten a speeding ticket?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. How many speeding tickets have you gotten?
3 or 4.
Okay.
When I was younger.
I think 2 or 3 for me. I think the first two were probably before college or during college. Actually, the first one was I was in high school. I hadn't had my license for too long. And second one might have been college. And then the third one actually was maybe about 10 years ago. I was unfortunately...
it's been a real long time.
Yeah, I was driving through Highland Park, and I unfortunately had some Bon Jovi on a little bit too loud, and when the volume goes up, the foot goes down, and
driving while Bon Jovi.
Yeah, shot through the speed limit. Shot through the speed trap. Mm-hmm. Yep. In fact, when the police officer pulled me over, they're like, "You know what? I pulled you over," and I said, "Yes, I know why you pulled me over, because I was listening to Bon Jovi too loud." And she's like, "Well, no, because you were speeding." I said, "Yes, I know, because I was listening to Bon Jovi too loud."
That's exactly.
You're not hearing me. Right. You're not hearing me. Here's the reason.
I did get a little chuckle. But it was like, yeah, okay, here's your ticket.
And here's your ticket.
Yeah.
It was kind of I see what you, I got you. I understand. Yep, here you go.
I understand. I just don't care,
right,
sir.
Right. Patrick, what about you?
I've only had one ticket.
Really?
Yeah.
Such a responsible young man.
I know.
I've actually been pulled over 8 times total.
Okay. Patrick just knows how to not get caught.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I've been pulled over 8 times. If I knew how to not get caught, I wouldn't have gotten pulled over in the first place.
Well, you know how to not get a consequence.
That's
yeah.
Did you start crying?
No, I didn't cry.
Oh, okay.
Flash a little something?
Oh, yes.
No, God, no. I just explained the situation and offered a sincere apology, and yeah, that was that.
Yeah. Okay.
You look like a fine, upstanding young citizen, and they're like, "Hey."
The story is he was speeding. They pulled him over, and they saw that he was holding his trumpet in one hand, and like, that's okay, just go ahead.
Just go.
Oddly enough, I haven't been pulled over for that.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been pulled over for that. I got pulled up next to in a very angry gesture, telling me to put it down.
Oh, okay.
But that's it. They kept driving. I kept driving.
Okay. All right. Oh, fair enough. And finally, question number 3. What is your favorite Dennis Hopper role?
Oh.
Pat, I'm going to take a wild guess and say yours is not Blue Velvet.
But I also understand that I should give that movie a second chance with a more open mind.
Well, I mean,
and
isn't that true of most movies?
That I should give him a second chance with more? Yeah,
right.
maybe.
Some movies. I think that's true of all of us.
I mean, honestly, Cool as Ice. Perfect example. Give it a second chance, more open mind. I think that one is really good.
Are you addressing that to anyone in particular?
No one in particular, John. I'm just testing your theory. That's all.
I thought for half a second you were trying to tell me that's your favorite Dennis Hopper performance, and I was like, I guarantee he was not in that movie.
Yeah, he was not in that movie. Honestly, I mean, he was really good in Easy Rider.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think this. I mean, he's just a bad I mean, he's a really good bad guy in this.
It's definitely the one you think about when someone says Dennis Hopper, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and if they say Dennis Hopper, bad guy, even more so.
Right.
Because, yeah.
Yeah, because when I think Dennis Hopper, I think of this movie. I think of, well, I mean, I think of Blue Velvet, you know, even though that wasn't necessarily my favorite movie. He is bat guano crazy in that movie, too. And is great in that one. He's great in Hoosiers. Loved him in that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
An underrated, not underrated, a not great movie, but a decent character for him was Deacon in Waterworld.
Oh, yeah. I was worried when you started with not great movie. I was worried you were going to say Super Mario Brothers.
No,
Thank you.
that's one of the ones you wonder how they got him to do.
Yeah. Somebody had some kind of dirt on him to get him to be in that one.
Right?
Yeah.
He isn't Cool Hand Luke.
My answer, I think, is also this one. Like, this is, of all the other movies, you know, I remember his part in True Romance when we saw that one last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, of all of his other movies, and I think, you know, honestly, once you get past, I was looking to see where Waterworld was. It was 95. Once you get past that, I'm looking on his IMDb page. I don't know that I've seen too many of the other movies past 95.
Yeah, me neither. And this man has a long career.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Knockaround Guys.
He's done a lot more, like, he hasn't done a lot of voice work, but he's done a lot more voice work than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
He shows up in a Puff Daddy music video. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I think I got to go this one, though. It's definitely this one.
Yeah, this is.
Is that, Bo,
It's really
were you
good.
going with Waterworld?
I might, you know, for a movie that's not very memorable, I do remember the Deacon character.
Yeah.
So I
I'm
think
trying to
just to
figure
keep it interesting.
Excuse me. I'm trying to remember if I've seen that movie all the way or not.
Well, it's it's a 2-sitting film for sure.
Oh, is it a long one?
Oh, yeah, that was in Kevin Costner's epic phase, I like to call it. You know, Waterworld, The Postman. You know, he had made Dances with Wolves and thought he could do whatever he wanted and people would just watch it. Now, that's an interesting something for the 30-something, we're the 30-something podcast. I apologize, people. I am on little sleep. That's something for the Shirley guys to do. Which movie is less impressive, Postman or Waterworld?
Oh, there you go.
I don't know that I would put them through that, but
Yeah.
I'm saying
That's a clash of the questionable titans right there.
is the unexpected X-Men or whatever they're called.
So here's what I thought as I was looking through his list of movies. I was like, you know what? I feel like Dennis Hopper would have made an amazing vampire. Like, I feel like there needs to have been a movie where he was a vampire, and I couldn't see. Like, I was just looking, I was like, I don't think he's been in one, until I found he was in a movie in 1966 called Queen of Blood.
Ooh,
in which he
That
plays
sounds like a vampire movie.
Yeah, he plays an astronaut. Basil Rathbone is in that one too.
Oh wow!
And 1966, Queen of Blood. And it is an alien species contacts Earth saying that they are journeying across the galaxy to make formal contact with humanity. Their interstellar starship crashes on Mars, and an Earth ship is dispatched to attempt a rescue. On Mars, they locate the downed spacecraft, but only a single dead alien humanoid is found aboard. They determine that an alien rescue shuttle left the red planet but crashed on nearby Phobos. A strange green-skinned woman is found alive aboard the shuttle's wreck. As they head back to Earth, the crew begins to die, drained of their blood.
Oh, there are some great pictures on IMDb.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to find this movie.
This looks interesting.
Oh yes, it will be mine.
Wow.
I feel like it just in reading that and knowing that Dennis Hopper is in it. I'm like, no, I got to track this down now.
That's crazy.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that special?
John Saxon, Robert Boone.
my God.
Wow.
And I thought I read somewhere that Roger Corman who just recently passed away, was maybe involved in this.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. So I might have to track this down at some point. If Will can find it, maybe he can patch it in for us.
Yeah. Basil Raff. Gosh, this is amazing.
This might be this might even be a fun Patreon one if we need something.
Yeah.
Something a little crazy.
What year did it come out?
66.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh, that was disgusting.
Now I'm curious.
What?
Assuming they go in the same order for you, it's picture 38 of 56.
Where are you looking?
The IMDb. Just the photos.
Let me go back.
There's you know what? I can put this in the chat because I think I can link right to the picture.
Photos.
It is.
Which one is
disturbing.
Picture 30 something. Now all
38 of 56. I think I just sent it to you guys in the chat.
All the listeners are
because I think it. In. Yeah, this is great radio we're producing right now, guys.
Listeners are joining in.
They're.
What in the world?
So is it a well
alien embryos movie? Of some kind? Maybe I don't know what we're looking at.
It looks like those little squishy balls that
it does.
That like the eyeball would poke out the more you squish it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of what those look like.
Yeah.
Mixed in with like lime jello.
Huh? Ugh.
Oh, this looks special.
That's nasty.
I'm excited to be a part of this.
Oh yeah, this is something that must be seen.
Hideous beyond belief with an inhuman craving.
I just got there too. That's outstanding. What a tagline.
Huh? Oh yeah. Yep, this is okay. All right. Well, I found our next project.
Yeah.
It's outstanding.
Thank you, Dennis Hopper.
I'm excited to be a part of this. All right. Well, that's going to do it for Speed. We are the 30-something movie podcast, 30podcast.com, at 30podcast on most of the different social medias. We are in the month of June, and our theme this month is You to Bomb. Patreon episode this month is Cloak and Dagger from 1984. Like a day after we recorded the Cloak and Dagger episode, Dabney Coleman passed away. I don't know if you guys saw that.
RSVP, Dabney Coleman.
So, our Patreon short is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes from way back in 2024. And then this month we've got Speed. Next week is Blown Away. The week after that, buckle up, gentlemen, is our special Greatest Movie Explosions of All Time. I'm excited. And then finally we end the month with the movie True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So looking forward. Got some good stuff coming up this month. Gentlemen, as always, it is a pleasure to be here, and it's always a pleasure when we can talk about movies where we just have a crap ton of fun and buses drive into airplanes and explode.
Can I borrow your phone?
Yeah, take the phone. Take the phone, man. All right. Thank you, Bo. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. What a great movie this was.
Yeah.
Amazing movie. And we'll see everybody back here for Blown Away next week. So in the meantime, be excellent to each other. Go blow some stuff up. Go watch some good movies. And no, don't blow stuff up. Just go watch good movies. Watch movies
that blow stuff up. Exactly.
The 30-something. Yeah. The Hermanos Rodriguez and the 30-something movie podcast does not condone drugs or blowing stuff up. I think it's time to go now.
Yeah, that was a little complicated there.
It's time to show. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock, some movies shock. They're powerful, alright. We cover them all on your favorite part. So many movies we can choose. Even when you win, you lose. Life moves pretty fast. Some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood